New polling suggests Angela Rayner's plan to introduce an official definition of Islamophobia could cost Labour more than 1 million votes, handing Reform UK a 100-seat majority at the next election.
Well, the Deputy Prime Minister has appointed a panel to draw up the definition across the public sector, despite warnings it could stop politicians speaking up about grooming gangs.
Well, let's get more, shall we? With broadcaster and commentator Rafe Heydel-Mankoo. Very good morning to you, Rafe. Do you think we need an official definition of Islamophobia?
No, we don't. In fact, that's what the polling shows as well in this latest poll. More people think that an Islamophobia definition is unnecessary than that it's necessary. And a majority of British people think that it's an unimportant issue. We also need to stop using this term Islamophobia. What we should be discussing is anti-Muslim hatred, anti-Muslim bigotry, which is just as vile as any prejudice, including anti-Semitism and homophobia. But Islamophobia is a deeply insidious term, and it's very worrying that the government is trying to entrench a term that was created by Islamists. It was created by the Muslim Brotherhood, which was a vile, anti-Western, violent, extremist organization, deeply anti-Semitic with ties to Hitler. And they wanted to use this term Islamophobia as an ideological weapon to silence critics of Islam by conflating the religion with individual Muslims. And so basically Islamophobia, this definition, is simply a tool that's going to help Islamists and jihadists. And it's very chilling to see essentially the government trying to reintroduce a blasphemy law into this country, but it's an Islamic blasphemy law. It's only one religion that this applies to, and no religion, no ideology should be free from criticism. Of course, we must condemn anyone who attacks Muslims for who they are, but the religion of Islam mustn't be prevented from pointing out aspects of it. And what we hear about with this proposed definition is that it's going to criminalize anyone who's seen to attack Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. This may not just apply to fear of discussing the Muslim Pakistani rape gangs, but indeed cousin marriages, child marriages, polygamy, even religiously sanctioned wife beating. It's deeply worrying stuff, and it's no surprise that we've had other recent polling out last week that shows that older white people without a university education are the group most worried about the loss of free speech, and they, of course, are the ones who live predominantly, or a great number of them, in Labour constituencies.
Do we have legal definitions for anything else of a similar? I mean, is there a legal definition of being anti-Semitic or homophobic or anything else?
Well, I don't know if there's a legal definition to homophobia, but all religious minorities, including Muslims, are already protected under the Equality Act. And the 2006 Racial and Religious Hatred Act makes it an offence to incite hatred against someone on the basis of their religion. We already have that. But crucially, in that act, it makes clear that that doesn't include or prohibit discussion or criticism or expressions of antipathy towards particular religions. We don't need this new law. We know why it's coming in, because Labour is petrified of the Muslim vote. We're always talking about the number of Reform MPs that were elected at the last election. We don't discuss enough the number of independent Muslim vote MPs that were elected, and that demographic is only going to increase. We saw huge numbers of Muslims leave the Labour Party over its support for Israel after October the 7th. Muslims are now in such large numbers in the Red Wall and elsewhere that they've decided they can actually have their own MPs, and so Labour is desperately trying to claw them back. People like Jess Phillips, her majority depends in large part on that Muslim vote, and that's why you have Jess Phillips, a feminist, and the Minister for Safeguarding Women Against Violence, turning a blind eye and refusing to call out the oppression, the rampant misogyny and sexual violence when it emanates from Muslims, certain Muslims within her own community. But you can't have it both ways. You can't try to placate the Muslim vote and at the same time keep on side the white British older working class voters who we know are most worried about this.
OK. Rafe, thank you very much. Good to see you this morning.